Hello, puppies and kittens. Welcome to another episode of Blasphemers Bible as we get into Easter 3. Or is it Ishtar 3? I'm not sure. I don't know how to pronounce things.
All the goddesses are the same, right? They're just all one big collective goddess that exists to take the attention from men because men are special.
And Lilith, describe your appearance.
Oh, yes. Apologies to Portland. I tried to get a frog hat since apparently during Purim it is traditional to dress up and we are reading Esther, and so I am dressing up. But in solidarity, since I could not get a frog hat, I got a Luigi hat. So free Luigi and eat the rich. I recommend barbecue sauce and a long braising period.
Okay. And it looks like Isaac has got a pipe, one of those long pipes.
You just trying to copy me,
or is that a wand? What do you got?
It is a wand.
You're muted, Isaac. It's a wand. I think
okay. Okay.
He's going to cast a spell and turn all the frogs gay.
Is it perhaps a magic wand?
Maybe.
All right.
It's a miracle wand. It's not magic.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I do think we have succeeded in turning all the frogs gay, apparently, finally. I never thought that I would say that this is the right moment in history for furries to rise up and lead the protests, but it really does seem to be the time. So
I got in an argument for the last few days with this guy who was telling me how Antifa they're an organization because they have uniforms. I'm like, okay, what I'm being told Antifa is they're dressed as unicorns and frogs.
Wait,
didn't you get an inflatable axolotl costume?
Is that Antifa?
Is it all inflatable costumes? Is it all costumes? Does that make everyone Antifa on Halloween? I don't feel like the rules are very well defined here. Fascists are really not good.
I agree.
I mean, there are fascist furries as well. Like it's a thing. It's an issue. But also, I don't know, what would you call frogs? They're not.
I don't know. I'm trying to imagine the big red fox dressed as an SS agent.
Yes. You've probably seen a picture of that.
I don't know. That actually sounds kind of odd.
As long as it's consensual, like, we're not gonna like kink shame here.
No, I won't yuck your yum, but
as long as like you
recognize side eye.
As long as you recognize what, like, there's a reason why you want to be a slave or something like that. Or like,
yeah.
I don't really get down with that. I don't really understand that, but I will admit that when a woman has a German accent, that I really kind of want her to be strict.
They are a strict people.
Come to the parties that I go to.
I think we're getting off the topic.
Well, I mean, costume parties are kind of.
I blame Tomer.
Yeah, costume parties, all right.
When I used to work in as a what's it called again? Cloakroom. There was a German dominatrix, but I can't remember her name now. Oh.
It was Madam something.
Yeah, or Mistress. I don't remember now. I think it was.
You know, there's a very nice. I think it is actually a kink club in Victoria. I wonder if they're still running. They've got sort of like goofy.
Probably. There's more than one.
So how did we get from introducing Esther 3 to dominatrix furries?
Costumes and a sex contest is what this chapter is about, so we're not nearly as off topic as it seems.
Yep.
Okay. And did Lawrence wander away?
Yes,
he always wanders away.
His kitty cat needs something, I assume. The kitty cat obviously rules the house, as all kitties must.
A swift kick in the booty, that's what it needs. So, all right, should we begin?
Indeed.
Yes,
Okay.
With
please.
right,
Haman's
then.
plot to destroy the Jews. Now, what at home you can use noisemakers or boo and hiss
You
to
can just
drown
say
out the sound
boo, boo, Haman,
Haman's name.
boo. Yeah, no. Usually, like in synagogues, you have a ratchet that you just ratchet
Yeah.
around if you hear Haman's name.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
ha-
like-
we
1920s theater where you're like, spoo the villain.
yeah, I think it's gotten over time. It seems to have gotten a bit more like sarcastic. I don't know what the word is. Like when I was a kid, it was like enthusiastic noise. Like we had to ban like gunpowder stuff because kids would like use caps and you know those like cap guns and
Yeah.
the ones you throw on the
with
ground. All that
The
stuff,
little
and it was like-
shitheads do this now, though. You know.
Okay, this chapter begins by talking about King Ahasuerus, the world's most surprising dinosaur kaiju. After these things, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, son of Hammedatha.
Boo, boo, Haman the Agagite, boo.
Wait, you have to wait until you finish.
No. You just when he just says Haman, you do that.
Oh yeah, as long as it's the right one. Yeah.
Hammedatha the Agagite. What kind of a rock is that? And
Agagite.
advanced him and set his seat above all the officials who were with him. And all the king's servants who were at the king's gate bowed down and did obeisance to Haman. For the king,
Boo!
for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai did not bow down to do obeisance. Then the king's servants who were at the king's gate said to Mordecai, "Why do you disobey the king's command?" When they spoke to him day after day, and he would not listen to them, they told Haman,
Boo.
Yay, Haman. Yeah. Oh, okay. The wrong one.
in order to see whether Mordecai's words would stand. But this aggression will not stand, man. Anyway, for he had told them that he was a Jew. When Haman
Boo.
Boo!
saw that Mordecai did not bow down to do obeisance to him, Haman was infuriated.
Boo.
But he thought it beneath him to kill only Mordecai. So, having been told who Mordecai's people were, Haman
Boo.
Boo!
plotted to destroy all the Jews, the people of Mordecai, throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus.
Boo! Oh, sorry.
In the
Wrong
first
guy.
month, which is the month of Nisan, which used to be called Datsan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast Pur, which means the lot, before Haman
Boo.
Boo!
for the day and for the month, and the lot fell on the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. Then Haman
Boo.
Boo!
said to King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered and separated among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from those of every other people, and they do not keep the king's laws, so that it is not appropriate for the king to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued for their destruction, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who have charge of the king's business, so that they may put it into the king's treasuries. So the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman.
Boo. Boo. Haman, son of Hammedatha the Agagite. Boo.
The enemy of the Jews. The king said to Haman,
Boo.
the money is given to you, and the people as well, to do with them as it seems good to you. Then the king's secretaries were summoned on the 13th day of the first month, and an edict according to all that Haman commanded was written into the king's satraps and to the governors over all the provinces, and to the officials of all the peoples, to every province in its own script and every people in its own language. It was written in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with the king's ring. Letters were sent by couriers to all the king's provinces, giving orders to destroy, to kill, to annihilate all Jews, young and old, children and women, in one day, the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, and to plunder their goods. And these are the righteous people that are doing this?
No, not
No.
this time.
It's so hard to tell who are the bad guys.
I know.
These would be the Persians.
This is the bad genocide. It's different from the other genocide, which was the good
It's
genocide.
different from all the good genocides. Okay. A copy of this document was to be issued as a decree in every province by proclamation, calling on all the peoples to be ready for that day. The couriers went quickly by order of the king, and the decree was issued in the citadel of Susa. So if you're from Susa, are you a Susan? Anyway, the king and Haman sat down to drink,
Whoa.
but the city of Susa was thrown into confusion. The end.
So obviously this is a ridiculous story. So the
I love how the
thing
king's
is,
like, do you want me to do a genocide? Yeah, fine, whatever, genocide. Don't care. Just go take care of it yourself. I'm busy.
yeah,
Well,
there's
he did give a lot of money to the treasury. Like I think it's calculated to be like supposed to be a lot of like it's supposed to be a very big amount.
Yeah, here's 70 jillion pounds of silver and a Qatari jet.
Can I do a genocide now, Daddy, please?
yeah. So the thing is, it's quite the overreaction to someone not bowing to the king. But
Well,
also
to
the
Haman. But it's a
Oh, sure,
pretty
yeah.
big
But
it's a pretty big violation of court protocol. Like
the thing is also at the end, where he's sending off this letter, he says that it's in every single language that the people would have spoken. Ridiculous. They would have just do the official languages. So that because like those were the ones that everyone who should know that information, who he would be telling this command to, would know those languages. So like yeah, like I think we talked about last time, it would be Assyrian and Aramaic. So like those would be the languages that they'd send the letter in. Because like who's getting the letter here? The kings, the satraps, the governors, yeah, like all the officials. So the important people. Not
Yeah, I
like,
mean, it
you know.
seemed to be like a belief, at least to the the people, the writers, that there was only 70 languages in the world, and that it was common for people to know all 70 languages. Like you had to know all 70 languages to be in the Sanhedrin. So, it must have been the same for like, the king's court or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So somebody, in order to be in this list, they had to know ancient Inuit.
Well, they didn't believe that existed. I'm saying like they only believed there were 70 nations and 70 languages, and that probably that goes from from Ethiopia to India pretty much is the extent that they knew about.
Got a couple comments here. Duke of Many Things says, Aaron, have you heard the religion McDee's metaphor? They say they're cheap meals, but their prices keep rising.
Is this okay? Is this a D's nuts joke? Like Mick D's nuts?
No, have you heard of the religion and McDonald's metaphor?
Oh, okay.
They say they're cheap meals, but their prices keep rising.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but
And
how does
then
that
Bruno
reflect on
Zygerts offers $10 Californian and says, I remember the TV series Heroes of the Bible. They had an episode about Esther, somewhat embellished. Really?
Wait,
A
is
biblical
that the
story that was
same-
embellished.
Wait, is that the same thing that I watched?
I mean, we had a Christian
Yeah,
cartoon
no,
when we were kids.
no, not really.
Where like the main characters go back in time to like Bible times or whatever, and we only had the one episode
Oh,
about
actually, it is.
Noah or whatever. But it definitely was a Christian like created
Wait, I
thing,
want to
but
see.
it was okay for us to watch some apparently.
Oh no, it's not a cartoon like
Oh,
thing,
you're not
right?
thinking. Yeah, it wasn't called
And-
Heroes of whatever. I can't remember what it was called. It was like a time travel thing.
Animated stories from the Bible. That's what I was thinking about.
Oh, is that?
maybe?
Oh, yeah, that's different. The ones
Yeah.
I watched, the Hanna-Barbera ones, The Greatest Adventures. You know, with
Oh, I
the
think
archaeologists who were thrown through time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's the one I'm thinking about.
That was Hanna-Barbera.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I had.
So as I planned Esther to only have the Jewish and Midrashic interpretation, I've done the same here. So we'll start with verse 1 about Haman. Haman is called an Agagite. While Agagite is not an ethnic designation, Chazal took the name to indicate that Haman was a descendant of Agag, the king of Amalek. Thus, Josephus in Antiquities 11:209 and the Targums specify that Haman was of Amalek, with Targum Sheni having his full genealogy. Esther Rabbah 7:1 likens Haman to rams who are fattened not for their own good, but for slaughter, since Haman, quote, only made great for his downfall, end quote. It also linked Haman with Esau 7:4, as well as claiming that Haman was a contemptuous man in 7:10.
It's interesting that you that you note that. So the Septuagint and Alpha text versions say that the various explanations have been offered for the term bugaios. The most likely is that it is related to the common Greek noun. Well, it would be pronounced the same. Yeah, it would be pronounced the same. Bugaios braggart. So like they are, the Septuagint would be taking the ethnic identification and substituting it for something else, which is quite interesting. But yeah, this is of course calling back to the issues that, and we've talked about it before, right? With Saul especially, the battles between the Israelites and the Amalekites.
And it's important to remember that this links back to yet another genocide, because this was the time that Saul lost the blessings of God on his kingship, because God sent him to do a total genocide and he only mostly genocided. He left a handful of people alive, and now we have Haman. That's what you get for not genociding correctly.
Oh, I see. So there is an Macchi writes. He writes that the most probable explanation for these differences between the Greek text and the Masoretic text is that the pre-Masoretic texts, which were translated by the AT, the Alpha text, and the Septuagint, labeled Haman with the Hebrew equivalent to the Greek Bogian, and that in 3:1 only. A late Masoretic copyist would have replaced this term with Agagite. So he thinks that this is original.
Interesting.
Okay, on 2, Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor. Josephus in Antiquities 11:210 writes, because of his wisdom and his native law alike, Mordecai would not prostrate himself before a man. According to Esther Rabbah 7:5, Haman made for himself an embroidered image on his garment and on his heart, and anyone who would prostrate himself to Haman would prostrate to the image. In 7:8, yes.
As in, yeah. I mean, think
copium
about
is
it.
hot.
The Christians wearing a crucifix, like it would be improper, I guess, for a Jewish person to bow to them. Apparently, you're not supposed to bow at all to a human.
Yeah, but this is technically an Asian culture. And granted, it's more of a thing, you think more China and what would typically anciently have been called the Orient. But bowing to people, very normal. And having this hierarchy of, people you bow more deeply to. Again, very normal. Mordecai is just shit disturbing, and they're coming up with excuses post hoc for why his stirring up shit for no fucking reason was actually virtuous.
There's this story about the Menachem Mendel Schneerson, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who there was one of his neighbors, like a Jewish man from the community. He lived nearby. He would see him all the time, and the Rebbe would always like nod when he would go past him. But whenever he walked past a non-Jewish neighbor, he would stop and talk to them and be like, how are you? How's it going? And the Jewish neighbor was like, he's like, I'm from this community, but he doesn't talk to me. And eventually he got a chance to ask him, like, why, how come you don't talk to me, but you talk to the other neighbors? And he says, it's not appropriate for me to nod to a non-Jewish person or bow to them in any way. So I still want to be polite. So I stop and I say good morning. But to you, even if I nod to you, like, you're not going to think I'm bowing or whatever to any symbols or whatever. Yeah. I don't know if it's a true story or not, but
that does sound very much like Jewish thinking, though, whether it's true or not.
Well,
I have no doubt the story has been circulated for.
Yeah, there's like a saying, like within like religious Jewish people, who say something like, if you don't believe a Rebbe story or a story about a righteous man, a tzaddik or whatever, then you're like a heretic. If you believe every single story, then you're a stupid person or a fool.
Then you're a fool. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's quite true. And a lot of these stories, admittedly, it's something of a meme to keep ideas in the consciousness. And if you treat it like that, you won't get so hung up on crazy shit. But yeah, this is very... turning bowing into this like ridiculously giant thing where you're worshiping as a god anyone you bow towards, unless they know that you're not because they're part of the secret club, is...
I think it's more about they might wear a crucifix or something.
Or have a idol about them on some... Well, okay.
Yeah.
But still, that seems to be the basis of this entire conflict when nobody else in the culture took it in that way. Like, nobody said you're worshiping Haman because he's the highest official next to the king and we all have to bow, whatever the appropriate degree is for courtly shit.
Okay, so on 6, Josephus in Antiquities 11:211 states that Haman was naturally an enemy to the Jews. Oh, sorry, I actually missed some commentary on verse 2. In 7:8, Mordecai goes on to cite Deuteronomy 27:15 and Isaiah 2:22, declaring against Haman, quote, "This wretch sets himself up as a deity," end quote. Likewise, Talmud Megillah 19a states that Haman considered himself an idol, and Targum Ushon claims that he made an image of himself.
And see, that's... that just sounds like blaming, like you have to avoid being culpable for shit other people do that you had nothing to do with. I mean, do Jews not occasionally bow when they worship God, maybe in the direction of the temple or whatever else? Yeah. And then what if I like go outside your house and giggling set up an idol so that you accidentally end up bowing in the direction of that idol? Does that mean you've worshipped a false god? What if there's an idol somewhere between here and the temple? Or wherever you are. Because I guarantee if you traverse the entire earth on that arc, you're going to find something you shouldn't be bowing at.
Well, I mean, I always found it interesting about how Jewish people like calculate which direction like the synagogue should face. And I'm like, are they using like great circles, or are they just using like the Mercator projection, just like, yeah, it's roughly in this direction, like... But it seems to be they just do like the Eastern Wall as like in Europe, and like it's good enough. Like they're not trying so hard to be exact or anything. Yeah, I think it's more about the intention than it is about like what's actually happening.
Yeah. Okay, on 6, Josephus in Antiquities 11:2-1 states that Haman was naturally an enemy to the Jews, because the nations of the Amalekites, of which he was, had been destroyed by them. Targum Rishon states that it was told to Haman that Mordecai was a descendant from Jacob, who took away the birthright and the blessing from Esau, his parental grandfather. Josephon 9 states that Bigthan and Teresh were Haman's aides, and he became exceedingly angry when they were executed. According to Abba Goyon, Lekachtov, and Yalkut Shimoni 10:54, when Haman wished to destroy the Jews, God said to him, quote, "Foolish man, even I wished to destroy them, but I couldn't." Psalms 106:23.
Oh my
Where's that from?
gosh.
What?
Where's it from?
Psalms 106:23.
No, the quote about how God wanted to destroy the Jews.
Oh,
but couldn't.
Abba Goyon, Lekachtov, and Yalkut Shimoni 10:54.
So they're saying you grew on God like a fungus. He can't quit you.
That's quite funny. Yeah, I mean, there is like a midrash about how like that those two had a history, that they worked together like in the military or whatever before they became ministers or something like that, or I don't know, some sort of diplomatic mission or whatever. And there was something about how like I think Haman didn't ration his food properly, so he ran out of food like halfway through, and so he's like, help me, and he's like, okay, I'll give you my food, but you have to buy it from me or something like that. And
We're on a diplomatic mission. You are part of a rebel alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
Perfect.
so
Well,
I
you
can't
know.
remember if that's supposed to be I can't remember what the point.
So
of that
Haman
story
was bitter forever that he had to pay for the food
Something
that he
like
took
that.
from Mordecai. Yeah, that sounds like the kind of backstory. I have to love the.
Or maybe it might even have been like, it might have even been something like, oh, like if in the future you ever become important, like I will, I won't respect you, or I don't know exactly, and like he couldn't tell people why this Jew wasn't bowing to him, so it embarrassed him in public, so that's why he was angry. But I don't remember.
I really appreciate the Jewish willingness to write fan fiction for every fucking character in the Bible. It's fantastic. You have whole backstories. It's fanon, really. Fan canon. Just all the fanon, which is often more interesting than the canon itself. Or at least better written.
Yeah,
We
it
got
was
another
definitely a popular
comment.
book.
Yeah, we got a comment from on my unfinished song, who says, "Adventures in Odyssey from Focus on the Family. They have done numerous biblical stories told by sending modern characters back in time."
I looked up, but it is the Hanna-Barbera. That's the one. It's really familiar.
That's the one you were thinking of? Yeah, Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah,
I like when
I guess-
Tomer earlier said, "Is that the one that I saw?" No, it's not a cartoon.
Oh.
I
Aw.
don't know. There's-
No, it is
I
a
mean,
cartoon.
there's-
It's just
I can still remember in my head like the way that they had wooden like nails.
like
Like-
yeah, in the Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
And remember when
That's one.
there were leaks and the monkey had to help and the rhino to like stop they had Mowgli, the little token brown guy who went back with the white archaeologists in time, who was the comic relief because it was the 90s.
There were like
and
3
that's how we
kids, I
roll.
think. Yeah, there was like one.
Yeah, but the two were archaeologists, so they were like young adults.
Oh, I see.
Derek and Margot and their nomad friend Mowgli.
Nomad.
Yeah, I'm just remembering the intro. I have seen the intro far too many times. Although even my parents didn't get me to watch the Jonah one. In the Jonah one, they don't actually go to the event. They sit with Jonah and he tells them all about the event. But they literally say, and I am not making this up, that it wasn't a whale that swallowed Jonah. It was a fish that was specially created for this purpose by God. Because the Bible says it's a fish, and the Bible can't be wrong. But no fish could swallow a man and have him live for 3 days. So obviously God made a magical special submarine fish one time, so that Jonah could be swallowed by a fish, because the Bible can't be wrong or illustrative or alliterative in any way. No literary anything, must literal truth. And yeah, that was too far even for my folks, and bless them for having standards.
Okay, on 7, according to Esther Rabbah 7:11, the days of the week present themselves to God in turn, arguing why they should not be chosen for Haman's planned destruction of the Jews. As Carruthers summarizes it, quote, they defend themselves successfully, so the miscreant
Did I hear
Haman...
this right? Did
Yes.
you say that the days
of the
week present themselves?
Yes.
That's what you said.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Wednesday, not that one. I'm the actual Wednesday. I'm what?
Yes.
I prefer Wednesday Adams.
It's probably referring to like the planet that rules over the day or something. Like the angel.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay. So what? Okay. So I'm going to read this again. They defend themselves successfully, so the miscreant Haman turns to the months. Each has a merit. Nisan has Passover, Iyar the lesser Passover, for example. But Adar has no
But you
merit.
were wrong. So it wasn't days of the week; it was the months of the year.
No, it was days. Wait a minute. Wait.
That just sounds like the Chinese
Those are the
zodiac
months.
characters
Adar,
all-
the
I know it's the month. Wait, just a second. I think I read his commentary. It was day. Wait. Never mind. Adar has no merit. Haman also turns to the signs of the zodiac. Pisces is chosen because it is the only sign with no merit. Piscean fish are also common in Purim festive objects.
Pisces.
Haman,
No.
Haman is nonetheless foiled for, quote, he did not know that on the 1st of Adar Moses died and on the 1st of Adar he was born, end quote. The Piscean sign is invoked in God's warning, quote, wretch, fishes sometimes swallow and sometimes are swallowed, and now it is you who will be swallowed, end quote. It cited God's refusal to blot out the name of Israel, 2 Kings 14:27, against his injunction to eradicate Amalek, Exodus 17:14, to comfort Israel. To comfort.
Them?
Comfort. Sorry.
Yeah, I always found that interesting. That the astronomical sign is called Pisces, but the adjective is Piscean, I think. Yeah, or Piscean.
I just think he's throwing massive shade at Pisces, and I don't know if there's any Pisces here, but I suppose at least he knew not to start shit with Scorpio because they're very snarky, I've heard.
Well, you know
let's
what
not,
he said to Monday.
let's start on this whole astrotheology route.
It did.
Yeah,
It says
the
sorry.
astronomical signs that we use in the West are, I think they do go back to Babylonians.
Yeah.
And they would have lined up with the same pretty much the same calendar that Jews use. By the Second Temple period would have been based on the Babylonian probably.
Sure, yeah, but when everyone's interpreting things
solar
like through that
lunar.
lens, it's just like a whole. It's mostly a crock of shit. Like there are parts where like you can very clearly say that that's the case, but like when people try to apply it to like other stuff, it's like, why are you even talking about this here? It shouldn't even be in here.
And like the reason
sorry.
why, like in astrology, like the dates, they don't line up with the Western calendar. It's probably, I think it's just based on like that was what the Hebrew calendar or the equivalent was at that year. That when they decided like, okay, we're gonna just base it on whatever it is this year. So.
Okay, so it was a bit misunderstood. It is written in Esther Rabbah 7:11 about the weeks of the days, and it goes on like in extension. For example, where is it? He cast.
Is nobody going to have a problem with Monday showing up to talk to people?
That's what I want to clarify. So he
Okay.
cast the lot on Monday. Its angel stood before the Holy One, blessed be he, and said, Master of the universe, on the second day you separated the upper waters from the lower waters, and likewise Israel is separated from the nations. That is what is written, quote, I have distinguished you from the peoples to be mine, end quote, Leviticus 20:26. And this wicked one wants to eliminate them, overturn the upper and the lower worlds, and then annihilate them.
Yeah. So the angel of Monday shows up, and the guy says, "Don't start with me."
Yes. Basically, yes.
And the angel of Friday shows up, and the guy says, "Thank God it's."
Yeah, so what I meant was the days of the week defended themselves, and then Haman turns to the months.
Okay,
So-
okay.
All right, October.
Which day lost? Which day
No,
didn't have
they-
a good argument?
I don't think there was a day that won.
Well, lost. I mean, like, which one didn't have a good defense? So got okay. Now, which month?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yes.
Oh no! It's just once that wicked one saw that the lot would not fall on the days, he moved 2 months. So no day was chosen.
Oh, so the days defended themselves effectively. So it would be on
Yes.
an unspecified, non-existent day in a specific month. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it looks like apparently the Hebrew lacks 13th day.
No.
I mean there is like a thing with Adar, right? But it's like.
No, it still has. It's the Adar is the leap month, so it
The leap
certainly
month.
there'll be two
Yeah,
of
the
them,
leap
but
month.
they still have like 28th to 30
Yeah.
days or whatever. No,
Yeah, it just.
can't have
It's
28.
odd. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
and Targum Wishon states that a divine voice from heaven said, quote, Do not be afraid, O congregation of Israel. If you turn about through repentance, then the lot will fall on him instead of on you.
Ugh. Yes, of course. We must all repent whenever someone's trying to kill us, because God is a
It's supposed to be
special
like-
snowflake, and he likes to hear you beg.
There's supposed to be like a defense since God controls, like the goyrel, the raffle, whatever you want to call it. Then he would have chosen the date for when they were to be destroyed, and then but he had to include like a provision of like, well, if they can save themselves.
Save yourself.
It's a trap.
Wait, voice. You bring me up with all this like things that I haven't been prepared for. So
Sorry, wouldn't want you to have to think on your feet.
yeah, I don't want to think. Okay, so on 8, Esther Rabbah 7:10 asserts that Haman's plan is futile because Jews are elsewhere in the Bible likened to stones, as we see Numbers 23:9, Isaiah 51:1, Genesis 49:24, and cites Isaiah 30:14, quote, He shall break it as a potter's vessel is broken, end quote, to affirm Israel's resistance. Quote, If a stone falls on a pot, woe to the pot. If a pot falls on a stone, woe to the pot. In either case, woe to the pot, end quote.
Woe to the pot.
Wow, treating the pot like the nations there, Jesus.
Yeah, they were really bad at paper, rock, and pot.
Rock, paper,
whatever they
scissors?
played.
Yeah, they clearly didn't have cast iron.
Hold on, are we still? Hold on. Sorry, what verse are we on
8.
right now? 8. Okay. So I guess you didn't have much in your commentary about poor.
No, not really. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. I guess I covered some of that. Like in
you
the
did mention
earlier
it, yeah.
episode. Yeah. But I guess I'll say it again. So poor is an Akkadian loanword, and it would make it would make really weird. I actually just wouldn't make sense to name like a holiday because it's supposed to be why it's called Purim, right? Because that's when they cast the lots. But it's really weird to name a holiday after an event like this, where like the Pur was how they decided. on when to kill everyone. It'd just be a really weird way
So,
to
point of
to name a
clarification.
holiday. So
Does poor mean lots, or does it mean thing without value?
well, okay,
Because-
so lot, like a single lot, like when you're casting lots.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
dice, basically. I mean, this is very much a case of we're living and dying by the dice, so we named it Dice Day. I
Well,
guess.
The thing is, it's still weird because it's Akkadian, and the thing is, this is probably giving some like, I guess I'll say this, a new etiology for how Purim would have started, because a lot of scholars do think that there was an antecedent to this, that there was some Persian version of this where it was essentially taken over by the Israelites and kind of rewritten for their own purpose. And this would have been in an era of very high syncretism. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's
And we should also note that drawing lots as a way to reveal the divine will, I mean, this has been part of every part of the Jewish story and laws and histories. There's always been a reference to it. So the idea of, luck being the way that the divine shows its will in the casting of lots is very much a thing. That could have had in the Jewish community alone, or the Hebrew pre-Jewish community, 1,000 different holidays and justifications could have been put together prior to the story of Esther, but this may have been the one that pulled them together sort of quite a while after the exile, but when one of the periods where they're working on putting together a unified identity.
Apparently, there is some sort of connection that, like, the Adar is connected because it's the last month of the year in the some of the calendars. Like, I mean, the Jewish calendar also recognizes Nisan as the first month and Adar as the last month, even though the new year is in the 7th month of that calendar. So apparently, there might have been like an Assyrian, Persian tradition of like choosing before the new year with a lot, like a special day or something of that year. I can't remember. There's like an article here about it.
There's lots
So
of traditions.
it could be that
even
Purim
in-
is based on that festival.
There's lots of traditions, even in
which was-
like modern witchcraft, of at the new year settling something about your focus or your future by some manner of chance game. Just in terms of like, what do I want to focus on first, or what do I want, whatever. Like, there's a bajillion things you can do.
Okay, they were casting lots to choose the name of the year, like which divine entity would be named after or something like that. Because they didn't necessarily have like, they would have like the year of the thing or the year of that of like a different divinity. So it's possible, like, but I mean that's an Assyrian tradition, so I don't know how supported this is, that Purim has anything to do with it or not. But
No, but I think we can say that there's quite a lot of, casting lots and that having to do with festivals and backstories, and that very much is an aspect of all the cultures in that region that could have given birth to any number of pre-existing things that could have been folded into this Purim with this story.
In Esther Rabbah 7:13, the angel Michael defends Israel in the heavenly court against Haman's accusation. As Carruthers comments, quote, "The interpretive history of Haman's accusation can be construed as a repository of circulating Semitic discourse, quote unquote, according to Brian Chayet. Jewish exegetes in the Middle Ages reflect the period's anti-Jewish sentiment. The Midrash Panim Acherim B, for example, places in Haman's mouth complaints about the Shema, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, and cites the blessing against heretics, who humbles the wicked, both of which were frequently construed as anti-Christian. For Gersonides, Haman is motivated by his fear of a united but dispersed Jewry using their influence beyond the reach of the authorities to stir dissent. Ibn Ezra discerns in Haman's speech echoes of contemporary complaints against Jews' moral weakness and their internal divisions.
Actually, that brings to mind something that I've noticed in like unhealthy high control groups and things. Jehovah's Witnesses are a great example, one of many, where, you know, they'll be taught to behave in a way that separates them from everyone else, and they're not allowed to have friends outside the community, and they're not allowed to do this, and they're not allowed to do that, but they have to hold themselves as inherently better than everyone else and only keep to their own in this, and this way. And then, of course, people don't like that. And so it becomes a partly self-inflicted wound, but then the other people go way overboard and get really cruel sometimes, like they're, you know, Russia banning them and doing all kinds of horrible things. But then that is, the theology feeds that as, this is the proof that we really have the truth because they're oppressing us. Is that mentality...
Help, I'm being repressed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they do induce actual repression sometimes, but they're quite happy to call anything repression that just inconveniences them. So, you know, it's a little hard to tell who cried wolf. But, like, is that attitude and that way of thinking part of modern Judaism in any way? Because it does seem, I'm seeing echoes of it through these older texts and ideas. Is there any kind of a sense of they persecute us because we're the good guys?
Yeah, kinda. I guess, yeah. I think there is this like kind of mentality, though. Yeah.
I mean, they kind of start off the sequence with like what they say here. Yeah, there is a certain people scattered and separated among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from those of every other people, and they do not keep the king's laws. So there is this sense of, you know, creating another.
Yeah. But the othering is also something that the Jews do, although not in the way that Haman is representing it, obviously. He's trying to make it like they're all a bunch of anarchists who are burning the streets down and, you know, turning the frogs gay or whatever.
Them damn gay frogs.
I know. Yeah, I still don't know what to call the frog furries. They're not furry. They're... Someone tell us.
Anyways, we should continue.
Yeah.
Slimies.
Finally, on verse 10, according to Esther Rabbah 7:20 and Abba Goyon, Achashverosh hated Israel more than Haman. Talmud Megillah 14a reads, Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana said, the removal of Achashverosh's ring for the sealing of Haman's decree was more effective than the 48 prophets and the 7 prophetesses who prophesied on behalf of the Jewish people, as they were all unable to return the Jewish people to the right way, but the removal of Achashverosh's ring returned them to the right way since it brought them to repentance.
Ugh. Oh, good. This is another... We were tortured to bring about our repentance, so it was really good for a bunch of us to die horrifically. God, I hate this justification.
Yeah. Okay. I know. I'm probably gonna hate this, but go on, Peter. Wait, let's see. Let's see what you made.
No, only if you play. Told you.
Sorry, just oh.
Sing it.
Guess who's talking about Jesus, Jesus, Jesus? Guess who's talking about Jesus? It's Romanus Maurus. Yeah. Okay. So, Haman symbolizes the arrogance of the powerful of this world who take advantage of the benefits conceded to them by divine mercy. Haman's actions and his plan to destroy the Jews foreshadow the different phases of Christ's passion.
Oh my God, they're pulling everything out of their asses.
Oh, you want to know why?
Not really, but go ahead and tell me.
Okay. The fact that the 12th month, which is called Adar, was chosen for the destruction of Israel after casting lots is not with its own spiritual meaning. It is referring, in fact, to the grace of Christ, which has been prepared for the faithful in the fullness of time, when the faithful will undergo a fierce persecution in the world in the last days. And writing about this to Timothy, the teacher of the Gentiles, says, quote, "You must understand this, that in the last days distressing times will come. For people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, inhuman, incapable, slanderous, profligates, brutes, haters of God, etc., etc." Timothy 3, 1 through 5. 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 5. And the Lord himself says in the gospel, quote, "And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come," in Matthew 24, 14. And a bit further, "For at the time there will be a great suffering, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, and never will be," Matthew 24, 21. Basically because that's the end of the year, so...
Yeah, so that'll be the end of the age, right? Yeah, they love
Yes.
putting that.
Yeah. You know, in fairness, Christianity hates all form of self-love, physical, of course, because that might bring you pleasure, and Christianity hates pleasure. But it also hates dignity, self-respect, inherent love and care for your
Also hates regular
mind and
respect.
integrity.
I was gonna say, yeah, like
Yeah,
not only
you know,
physical self-love. Isn't
they,
there like
they do tell you to love your neighbor as yourself, but you're not really allowed to love yourself. So
Yeah.
for some reasons Christians like to put signs outside their churches with like little like sayings or whatever.
Ugh,
And sometimes they're a bit, I don't know what the word is, like making fun of themselves. Sometimes
But you know,
without them
people always
realizing.
get upset when I try to love my neighbor the way I love myself.
That's why
Like,
it's important to learn from BDSM instead of Christianity, because they care about consent.
So I think
We
I
have
saw
a-
vouch
picture
for
of,
that.
like a church sign that says
Hint,
something
hint,
like
nudge, nudge.
Satan says believe in yourself or something like that.
Oh yeah, you know, they genuinely think that's a bad thing. Satan doesn't whisper believe in me, he says believe in yourself. Hail
Hail Satan, hail thyself.
Exactly. There are churches who actually see that as a bad thing and a warning, because you ought not to lean on your own understanding, because, you know, that might lead you to think. And then you would ask questions that are uncomfortable, and then not just be satisfied with you have to have faith, and then they don't have power over you anymore. And then, I don't know, the Goblin King has to give the baby back. So...
It's funny to me that it becomes a satanic message to say that the power was in you all along.
Yeah.
We got a comment from Spam Filter, who offers 66.6 Swedish kroner and says, "It's the Jesus lookalike show with the cheeky Brit and the goddess of the three B's. In order: brains, beauty, and the like she herself claims, bosoms."
Accusing
Well,
you of
thank
having.
you. That is very sweet. And yes, I the bosoms are what they are, but I do find it hilarious how afraid God appears to be of them, far more than my beauty or my brains. But then I don't think he admits I have brains.
Okay. Are we moving on to 4?
Yep,
Ooh.
we're moving on to 4.
Yes.
All right. Who is reading 4?
Me.
Yay!
Or it could be
Okay,
you.
Lawrence, read it.
Hey!
Tamer.
Lilith said she would do it, so
Yeah. Lawrence
gotta
is a
listen to the
wise
lady.
man.
You gotta.
Well, Unless you hate women. Do you hate women, Tomer?
No, I don't hate women. No,
Tomer
of course
just-
not.
That's
about
exactly what
having a-
someone who hates women would say.
Yeah, but Tomer was just speaking about his personal experience with the dominatrix. Give him some credit.
Well, yes. Perhaps I should tell her on you. We'll rat you out later. In the meantime, we'll discuss how Mordecai persuades Esther to help him with his trouble that he managed to bring on all their people by being an ass. Now, when Mordecai learned of all that had been done, he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes and went out into the city, wailing loudly and bitterly. But he went only as far as the king's gate, because no one clothed in sackcloth was allowed to enter it. I can't imagine why. In every province to which the edict and order of the king came, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting and weeping and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. When Esther's maids and eunuchs came and told her about Mordecai, she was in great distress, and she sent clothes for him to put on instead of his sackcloth. But he would not accept them. Then Esther summoned Hathach, one of the king's eunuchs assigned to attend her, and ordered him to find out what was troubling Mordecai and why. So Hathach went out to Mordecai in the open square in the city in front of the king's gate. Mordecai told him everything that had happened to him, including the exact amount of money Haman had promised to pay into the royal treasury for the destruction of the Jews. He also gave him a copy of the text of the edict for their annihilation, which had been published in Susa, to show to Esther and explain it to her. And he told him to urge her to go to the king's presence, to beg for mercy and plead with him for her people. Hathach went back and reported to Esther what Mordecai had said. And she instructed him to say to Mordecai, "All the king's officials and the people of the royal provinces know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned, the king has one law, that they be put to death. The only exception for this is for the king to extend the gold scepter to them and spare his life. But 30 days have passed since I was called to go to the king." When Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer: "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come into a royal position for such a time as this?" Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai: "Go gather all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my maids will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish." So Mordecai went away and carried out all of Esther's instructions.
Yeah. Pretty
Now, that was an
straightforward.
interesting law.
Yes.
If anyone comes without my permission by calling them first, I will kill them. That's, I get a lot of people would disturb the king otherwise, but seriously.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find something about this. Talk amongst yourselves. I mean, you always have something to say about this chapter, right?
I mean, this
Lawrence?
has some of the most quotable moments from Esther in it. Part of the reason I like that chapter, you know, perhaps you were put into this position for such a time as this. The "I will go, and if I perish, I perish" is
Things I say
moving-
before sex.
well, hey, that's a good way to die. But at least for a guy. But like, genuinely, those are moments in the hero's journey, the, you know, going forth into all but impossible odds, accepting the possibility of death. That's very, you know, it's very moving from a narrative perspective. And yeah. But also just, yeah, there's a time and a place where people are able to do great things because of where they are, and that's not always what you would have anticipated out of your life. I didn't anticipate that I would be living right next door to an apparent recreation of Europe in the 1930s and 40s, but I am, and I have to decide who I'm going to be in that world.
I did not think when I was growing up being taught, all these great things about America, I did not think that the young Republicans would just come out and admit to being Nazis.
That is a reasonable thing to have not anticipated.
And by young Republicans, we do not mean kids, like J.D. Vance said. We're talking about people, adults in their 20s and 30s.
Between the ages of 18 and 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
or
crazy
Republican
challenge.
that's young. For a man,
So
anyway.
not a one of them is a child, like J.D. Vance was talking about. Up to 40.
Yeah, I mean, so
Which means, go ahead.
Would you agree that this chapter seems to be written by someone who had in mind that this is going to be reenacted like a play, or is trying to make the story more interesting, because it's just a lot of dialogue, but they've made it funnier by adding this eunuch who's running back and forth with the messages.
The thing is, there's a lot of funny stuff in Esther, right? But like some have even suggested that Esther was initially written as a comedy. But if that's the case, why did nobody find it funny back then? Like, we can find funny stuff about it now, but like no one in the past was talking about how funny it was. Like, they noted the irony, but they never said like, "Oh, this is such a funny book." So I am not sure. I mean,
Well, I mean, you probably need some of the Midrashim to make it funnier. I
think Berlin. I think Berlin says that the comic nature of the book has prevented the mention of God is most evident now when the book is least comic. In this sad scene, the author is hard pressed to write God out of the story.
Which scene?
God is most present. So wait a minute. So she writes, God is most present and most absent in this chapter. Religious practice and the mention of God's name come closest to the surface here and are most obviously suppressed. It is hard to read about fasting, mourning, or crying out without seeing God as the addressee to whom all these actions are directed. It is hard to plead for salvation from anyone but God. It is hard to imagine that salvation would come from another place without seeing this as a veiled reference to God.
Yeah, I mean, the story is meant to be like written, or meant to be read with God like in mind. Yeah, supposed to be the one behind these actions, and like even the subversion of Haman's plot at the end, right? So this is all meant to be with God in mind, but not explicit.
Well, the idea is that all of these things, including starting shit with Vashti and getting her kicked out and having the sex contest with 1,000 virgins being deflowered by the king, was all so that Esther could get put in this position so she could counteract it when Haman decided to start shit. Because God does love his solutions with a touch of drama. And there was no like Korean soap operas for him to watch at that time, so he had to make his own.
My unfinished sock says, "Don't hate humanity. Like and share the stream instead." Well, I can do both.
What the hell do you mean, don't hate humanity?
Have you looked around?
There are some elements of humanity I don't hate. But cats are better.
So I know there is a comment by Tomasino regarding the decree with the golden scepter. He notes the Persian throne room scenes do not depict any such guards surrounding the king. This is in reference to Josephus, who said that there were like guards next to the king. More often they are surrounded by servants bearing fans, cups, or parasols. Jobs cites the case of Diocese, a Median king who established a policy that no one was permitted to enter his presence or petition him directly. See Herodotus Histories 199, but that ruler was regarded as an idiosyncratic tyrant, not the norm for Persian practice. Herodotus does state that access to the king was limited in Histories 3118, and claims that it was Darius' policy that only the 7 nobles of Persia were allowed free passage into his presence. Other ancient authors write that no one could enter the king's presence without the permission of the chiliarch, who would demand to know their business. But there is little evidence that such a figure actually existed as the Greeks envisioned. So,
no one could enter his presence without a condom.
Though there is the custom of the king extending his scepter. It is unattested the custom of the king extending his scepter outside the Book of Esther.
Please tell me.
Yes, I extend my scepter to you, my golden scepter, and polish it, and I may let you live.
Touch the tip, just the tip.
If he likes you,
Well,
it will reach. Otherwise, it won't.
Well, it should also be noted that he writes the final revelation offered by Esther, that she had not been called to the king's chamber for 30 days, may be the most intriguing comment made here. The phrase "come unto the king" surely implies sexual concourse.
Yes.
In one night of passion, Esther had made such an impression on the king that he had chosen her to be queen over all others. But now the king and Esther have been married for several years. The passion is waning. Has the king grown tired of his queen? Certainly the king had other wives, and Esther could not expect to share his bed every night. Also, she had her own living quarters in the palace, and queens did not regularly dine with the king, but a full month without sexual relations or even friendly conversation. It may imply that Esther had fallen out of the king's favor, which could explain her reluctance to appear before him unannounced.
That is fair. And I mean, even no matter how many concubines you have, at some point, I'm assuming if a king actually does any ruling whatsoever, he does need to sleep and not just bang everybody at once. So, but yeah, a full month, because that means she hasn't even had a chance to get pregnant this month. And considering how many times they wanted so many heirs, you know.
Yeah, but there are some kings who are serious about their job, and some who just replace the royal bed with a large trampoline.
Yeah. Oh, and it should be noted that this chapter is the source for what is called the fasting of Esther, in Hebrew Ta'anit Esther, which is practiced that is not found in the Talmud. Actually, the Talmud doesn't decree that fast. It actually comes from the Midrash and the Gaonic period. So,
the tradition is that the day before Purim is a fast day to commemorate, which is the fasting that, I mean, all the Jews and Mordecai also fast, but it's called the fast of Esther. Because of her fasting.
Well,
yeah,
but I guess for her it was even more dangerous because she had to go to appear to the king at the end.
Well, that was the goal of all the fasting and the praying, was to like throw all of our good juju, our magic, sacred powers behind her. Which, if you can't do anything else.
Yeah, but it's a bit like, doesn't really make sense that that she's going to go appear before the king and try to look pretty and make him favor her, and she's going to then fast for 3 days before she does that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true. I don't think that Persian men particularly liked their women emaciated, but
they did like the belly dancer kind of thing, and it was always in the cowgirl position when they said "come unto the king."
That you can't do much belly dancing in the cowgirl.
why?
Hold on, let me just savor Tomir's disgusted sigh.
Hey, they did have some beautiful body chain jewelry that really works well with the belly dancing, and that's why the king has so many lovely.
I love how Tomir is both the youngest of us all and also the most mature.
I don't know, it just sounds like a prude to me.
Okay, so we'll start with verse 1. When Mordecai learned of all that had been done, how did he know? According to Talmud Megillah 12a and Esther Rabbah 7:13, followed by Rashi, the master of dreams, quote unquote, told him that the celestial beings had consented to this decree, because they had prostrated themselves to the idol in the days of Nebuchadnezzar, and because they had enjoyed Ahasuerus's feast. According to the Targum Rishon, he learned it through Elijah the high priest.
Who is the master of dreams?
Ooh.
Wait, Elijah the high priest.
Yeah. I know that there is a like.
I would have thought
Elijah was a
Joseph.
priest?
Joseph
Well-
was the one who was called something closest to that. But
I was
you
kind of
could
hoping it would be Freddie.
So it reads, the tradition in the Targum which describes Elijah as the high priest is reflected in a variety of rabbinic texts to a certain degree. In the Tosefta Targum to 1 Kings 17:13, Elijah says of himself, "For I am a priest." Furthermore, the following statement in Bava Metzia 14a and b, Rabbah, son of Abuhu, found Elijah standing in a pagan cemetery. Abuha, sorry. He said to him, "Are you not a priest, sir? Then why are you standing in a cemetery?" Yeah.
Yeah, he's just known as a prophet.
Yeah,
and
priests and
Navi.
prophets aren't supposed to
Yeah.
be exactly the same. They're different.
Well, I mean, you could.
Oh,
I think we lost. Oh,
Yeah,
Isaac?
Isaac glitching out.
the gods
Yeah.
of English internet have deprived us of Isaac.
Oh my God, what's going on? The internet's fine.
You've annoyed the Fae.
Can you hear me now?
Oh. yeah, we
okay.
can. We can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just saying that. Yeah, he could be a prophet because of his job, but a priest. Just born.
Oh no.
I think Isaac has angered the Fae. They're in the
Yeah.
islands, right?
It's
Looks... My video seems to be working fine.
Yep, we can still see you.
Yeah. Okay.
Nope, you are.
No, I don't have Vodafone. I'm on Virgin.
Yeah. All right, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're good.
yeah. Okay. So on verse 4, she was in great distress. In Hebrew, vatit chalchal. Talmud Megillah 15a reads, "What is the meaning of vatit chalchal?" Rav said, "This means that she began to menstruate out of fear, as the cavities." Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes.
I know you can get the piss scared out of you, and I know people have shit themselves in terror, but I don't know that you could.
As the only person here with the experience, let me assure you, no amount of terror will make your period come. If anything, it might actually delay it.
Okay. By the way,
R slash
Homer,
bad
I
woman's
just
anatomy.
noticed
Yeah.
Haman's ears are delicious.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Is there
So
some kind of food?
this refers to Hamantash, which
Yeah.
literally
So
in
Hamantash
Hebrew,
is called
yes.
something else, right?
in Hebrew it calls Ozen Haman, literally Haman's ear.
Yeah.
So
What is it?
it's like a
Hamantash
rectangular,
is
like
the biscuit, the triangle biscuit.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
Filling.
triangle. Yeah.
Uh,
It's a
So
it's a it's
Hamantash
like,
is Yiddish. A tash is like a pocket.
Yeah.
And it's just it's like I think it's an older food that normally has like a.
If it's called a pocket, is it like is it just bread, or is it like a pasty?
it's a
like a-
pasty,
like a
pastry.
cookie.
Yeah,
A pastry or a pasty? Because those are different.
pastry.
So I was
It's
gonna
more-
say,
Yeah,
the other one's cool too.
I mean the modern ones are more like they're more pastry Danish style, but I think the more traditional ones are more like a cookie. Like it's literally just a circle of cookie dough, and you put some filling, and then you
Okay,
fold it into
so
a
Haman's
triangle.
ears are like cookies.
Little triangle.
Yeah,
I mean, I've also heard that he had like a tricorn hat, and that's where the shape of the cookie, the Hamantaschen comes from. But
Okay.
I don't know where the
The French
ear
Revolution
one
will be
comes
annoyed.
from.
Yeah, there's another comment. DBK says, Isaac and Tomer and Lawrence and Aronra and Lilith, Doc Sledge, in Todd
Esoterica introduced me.
Introduce me to atheist Jewish reconstructionism. Are you familiar? A, are you familiar? B, as rationalists, what do you think of it as a rationalist religious movement?
I mean, I've heard of it. It's like basically, think about it as like
Cultural Jews.
Cultural Judaism, like dressing like Jews and like dressing like the Masoretic Jews, but not believing in God. It's basically like, it's kind of like the Chilonis, I guess, but it really depends because
It's confusing because like
really
I think
is, yeah.
Reconstructionism is like a very small group, but like if you
Yeah.
just go to like regular Reform, liberal Judaism, like a lot of the people that attend those are part of those communities, even the rabbis are openly atheist.
Yeah.
So, but I guess Reconstructionism itself is like specifically about like reconstructing a secular like culture around, as
I'm
opposed
kind
to
of torn
reform, which is
because I
yeah.
recognize the cultural elements and how that does feed the human spirit and the inclusion, and rituals and ceremonies can help to sort of connect us to a larger group and community. And I can respect that. However, everybody who engages with these things puts one more drop in the bucket of the cultural norm that they are sacred and cannot be questioned. And that, so many people have died because of that thinking. So that's something I really want to know how they would be guarding against accidentally contributing to the immunity of sanctity, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I mean the I guess the sort of philosophical exploration of how to keep a culture in in a multicultural world without the issues of, as you said, supremacy and
unquestionable sanctity,
irrational thinking.
I'd say it's a conversation worth having because religion is something we have not successfully dealt with
Eliminated?
as a species. Well, and we need to eliminate some elements of it, but there appear to be other elements of it that we do that do
Well, I guess
serve us
I
to
guess
some
on the
degree.
road to like what do you call it, like gay space communism, you need gay space socialism, right? So we need to have
Yes!
a point where before
Gay
we get
space
rid of
socialism.
religion and stuff, we need to have a point where it's like you can still have your culture but without the irrational beliefs.
And that's
Yeah,
and if we can manage to actually make that happen, that would be great. But history seems to indicate that humans go back into magical thinking whenever they're too stressed. And this has actually been used as an argument for the existence of God, which is like, so when you're irrational and panicked and terrified, God exists? That sounds good. But yeah, it's difficult. It's a difficult question. I don't think there's a simple answer, but I do think that no good answer will be found without recognizing the genuine risk and harm that comes with ideas of the sacred. And that needs to be addressed openly. So I have not done enough research into this particular movement to give any judgment on how they treat it, but I'd say it's a conversation worth having.
Well, as I was saying, she began to menstruate out of fear as the cavities, chalalim, of her body opened. And Rabbi Yirmiyah said, her bowels were loosened, also understanding the verses referring to her bodily cavities. Another manuscript reads, and there are some who say that she was pregnant and miscarried.
If her bowels were loosened, I think that would be more likely due to Indian food.
Oh, you sweet summer child. It's so obvious none of you have ever had a period.
Well, there is Segal in his commentary notes that Preus in Biblical and Talmudic Medicine 125 confirms that sudden fright can bring on menstrual bleeding. In Talmud Bavli Da 71a, the Talmud cites Rav's comment as a possible explanation of the opinion of the house of Shammai in the Mishnah 10.4 that women are presumed to die in a state of menstrual impurity, i.e. the sudden fright caused by the angel of death, quote unquote, would have brought on menses. See Tosefta Nida 1.4, quote, which is by compulsion. If she was ill and then saw blood, if she jumped and then saw, if her husband struck her and then she saw, if she carried a heavy load and then she saw, this is considered to be by compulsion, end quote. This is true as well of defecation. The Et Yosef, citing R.M. El Mosnino, finds the exegetical stimulus of the Midrash in the word exceedingly, which implies something beyond normal fear or anxiety.
There is a whole Reddit of like bad women's anatomy, like men thinking like the craziest things.
Yeah.
Like like women only have one hole. Like they don't have an anus. They just have it's like they have a cloaca.
Oh dear
Like-
Jesus.
Or like the baby doesn't come out the same place that the penis goes in. Like there's so many stupid words.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Like
There's a couple of YouTubers that like do,
yeah,
like,
the
reviews.
click does
Click
bad women's
and-
anatomy. And it's quite hilarious. But I have
And
to
One
say,
Topic.
it seems that Jewish rabbis have just as many terrible ideas about women's anatomy as modern alpha dude bros, albeit
They didn't have the same
different
scientific
genre.
knowledge.
There is a great passage in the alphabet of Ben Sira that is the worst women's anatomy. So there is it describes the birth of Ben Sira. It says that his grandfather went to a bathhouse and everyone was jerking off, and they were like, "Hey, join us." And then he was like, "No, I'm not going to join you." And then they threatened to kill him. So then he joined them. And then for some reason, his daughter later comes into the bathhouse and sits on it, I guess. And that is the conception of Ben Sira. Isn't that insane?
oh,
I know, right?
Fuck's sake.
It's one of the best things I've ever read.
Join our circle jerk, or
Yes.
we will murder you.
Yes.
And then have your daughter come into the all-male, obviously gay bathhouse
Yeah,
and sit on unspecified spunk that ends up being her father's.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
You know how creepy incel alpha male dude bros end up having the grossest fantasy lives ever? I think most all of the prophets appear to be that kind of guy. Because this is how he thinks that... No.
Just to be clear, the alphabet of Ben Sira is like I think it was meant to be a parody. I think it's a parody text.
I fucking hope so.
I think that the author is like making fun of a lot of the apologetics and the workarounds that rabbis have found. So if you read through it, it does kind of sound like that. Like he's turning it all up to 11. So
yeah, unfortunately,
but it's a much later text. It's from like
in the modern era,
around the 9th century.
I no longer feel comfortable assuming that tuning it up to 11 means intelligent irony. I once was able to assume that, and I miss the innocence of those days. I think if Jonathan Swift made a modest proposal now, people would start taking him seriously.
Okay, on 5 about Hathach, Carruthers comments, quote, the messenger between Esther and Mordecai is given special attention by the rabbis, who identified him as Daniel, the exemplary Jewish royal advisor, quote, upon whose authority the royal decrees were decided, end quote, in Targum Rishon. The Talmud, Megillah 15a and Esther Rabbah 8.4, explain that Daniel is called Hathach here because he was degraded, Hatachuhu, from his position. According to Targum Rishon, Haman sees him passing messages between Mordecai and Esther, and, quote, he became furious at him and killed him, whereupon the angel Michael appeared there and related to Mordecai Esther's words, end quote, making him Jewish. In the rabbinical writings, in the rabbinical writings, does explain Hatach's seemingly passive relating of the news of Esther's Jewishness, whereas the biblical account is evasive about what it is that Mordecai tells Hatach. Esther Rabbah interprets the all from all that had happened to him as a dream, almost identical to that recounted in the Deuterocanonical Esther, told here to Esther to inspire her to approach the king in 8:5.
So they literally wrote in Daniel from the book of Daniel as
they were
having been
making him
demoted
Jewish,
to
yes.
this eunuch that runs errands for the harem. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And they,
So
they
basically,
also
they wanted to
wrote in
make
the
him Jewish.
angel.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I heard that correctly, they also wrote in the angel Michael, although not played by John Travolta.
Yeah, I mean, so the text has like Hatach being like given the message and going and relaying it, but then you get to verse 12 and it says Mordecai was told what she said, and then it says Mordecai had this message delivered, but it doesn't mention Hatach again. So that's probably where they got the idea of like, oh, he was killed at some point in the story, and then he was told in a dream, or he was told by the angel Michael for some reason. You love it.
Sure, Jan. Whatever you say.
I mean, it's one way of explaining the language of the chapter.
Yeah. Finally, on verse 11, Josephus in Antiquities 11:205 writes that the king had made a law that none of his own should approach him while he was sitting on the throne without having been summoned. He writes that there were men with axes standing around his throne to punish those who approached the throne unbidden.
I do understand that with kings, you need to have some sort of a system in place so that everyone can't run in and just be all up in your face and wanting you to fix everything all the time. That's not functional. But
Yeah, like you wouldn't get in
axes seem very brutal. It's giving Bjorn's sons got drunk kind of a vibe.
I mean, being announced before the king, before you're, and giving him a
Yeah.
chance to refuse, give an excuse or
Entrance.
whatever. It's not to
Or
not see his queen. Like, that's
just-
one thing, but
Having like, these 3 people are petitioning to see you. Do you have time? No, I don't. Or, well, I guess I can see that one, but I don't have time for all 3. Or like, that's
Yeah.
Okay, so on 4:1-7, sorry, no, I was Ancient Christians. I was just reading the Ancient Christians thing. Okay, so thankfully, we don't have just Rabanus Maurus here. We have a bunch of people who are well known, I guess. So first, Rabanus, who says that the persecutions that the Jews suffered because of Haman are a figure of the persecutions that the Holy Church will suffer because of the evil of the world.
They can just like take any persecution and be like, "This is about us."
surprised they didn't bring Jesus up.
Oh, the persecution.
Harder.
Prophecy.
Sticking in the wheel.
More persecution. More.
Yeah, that is one of the ways they've been protesting. Just run up to them in your furries and your leather outfits. Be harder, daddy! At the cops. They really like that. Almost as much as the donuts on a string.
Now, Ambrose wrote that friendship must always be combined with virtue, so that we may never commit a fault in order to favor a friend. Origen says that when the people were about to be destroyed because of Haman's plot, salvation was obtained through the prayer that Mordecai and Esther offered with fasting. And Clement of Rome wrote that Esther shows how many women, fortified by the grace of God, have accomplished heroic actions. That is it.
Eric Wander says, question. I don't know if you talked about this, but was Haman the Agatite, Amalekite? Weren't all the Amalekites destroyed in 1 Samuel 15? Is this a contradiction?
Well,
We did talk about it.
We did bring that up.
Saul-
Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's a way to another way to both demonize Haman and to kind of drive this wedge between the Israelites and like foreigners.
I mean,
Yeah.
Thomas, did you mention any of the Midrashic like origin stories for Haman? Isn't there something about how like that when Samuel killed all the people, he left the animals alive, and one of the animals was like an Amalekite woman or something who was like a witch, and she transformed herself into a cow. And
I
that's how
thought
she
the
survived.
story we had mentioned last time was that it was the king, because remember, Saul lost his throne in the blessing of God because he didn't kill all the Amalekites right away. So like the king had been left alive, possibly just to be killed later, but you can't delay on these things.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
his
yeah. That was
wife
the case,
survived and got away, and then she was the one that the queen got. Although the extra stories with the magical donkey pregnant with a human who's actually a witch does sound fun, but the version I had seen was more just that the queen had survived because Saul didn't kill the king and all his household immediately, and she was pregnant. So, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I remember seeing something about like one of the animals being a human or something. Yeah,
I mean that's possible too. The Fanon has many, many interesting stories in it.
I couldn't really find anything about it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's it.
Chapter
5 then. Or
well, here's the thing. So we would have done chapter 5, but I thought we were starting this an hour earlier. But I do have something I gotta get to, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it. I am also inundated, so back-to-back projects all day.
Yeah, I feel you. The thesis,
right, so can't do this Saturday. The reason we're doing Thursday is because can't do Saturday. There's a thing going on Saturday. Maybe some of y'all doing it too.
Right, yeah. And I wish I could do the thing, but I got a different thing on Saturday.
Yeah, I also have a different thing on Saturday as well. There's a fundraiser that I've got to participate in. So I'm busy all day yesterday. On my birthday, I was busy all day. Then busy all day today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Back to back.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy 98.
What?
Happy 98.
Don't worry, I'll spank him for that the next time I see him.
He's not as old as he looks, Lawrence.
You implying he looks good for his age?
133.
All right. Tomer, say goodnight.
No, I just want to say that next week I won't be available, both on Thursday and Saturday. So
the show will go a lot faster then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no one to keep us on track.
Yeah. So maybe we'll discuss what we do because of that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
And what can I finish with this? Oh, look, hey guys, look, math. Look.
Oh my god, I hate math. Join the Discord.
It works.
Math.
Good
Join the
night.
Discord.
Go to
Lawrence
sleep.
can read Greek, and he can't. That's
right.
Yeah.
Say
All right,
good night, Gracie.
Good night.